Part 53. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 521. But at this moment, Suliang was seriously injured and exhausted physically and mentally. He had no time to check his changes. Next moment, Suliang found that he had fallen into a soft, smooth, and fragrant situation. Thank you for your hard work, have a good rest. Ji Hongchen's voice rang in Suliang's ears. Suliang could no longer hold on and slowly closed his eyes. After a long time, Suliang woke up again and opened his eyes in confusion, but felt that his body seemed to be broken, with severe pain everywhere. After a little exploration, Suliang smiled bitterly. It seems that he was indeed seriously injured this time. He almost hurt his foundation. If there are not some heavenly materials and earthly treasures, it may take some time to heal these injuries. The scenes before coma emerged in Suliang's mind one by one, making Suliang relax. It seems, in the end, he finally saved Ji Hongchen. And the cultivation base has also broken through to the realm of transcendence. Although it was just a sea of suffering, Suliang's strength had also made a qualitative leap at this moment. Even though Suliang was still seriously injured, he could feel that he was still capable of dealing with dozens of his previous selves. When I have cultivated myself, I am afraid that even dozens of my original selves will no longer be my opponents. As far as Suliang is concerned now. Life Spring? It may be difficult, but you will win in the end. Only when we reach Shenqiao can we put some pressure on Suliang. A blessing in disguise, a breakthrough in cultivation, which can be regarded as some gains. Suliang couldn't help but smile. Can be followed immediately. He heard a familiar voice ringing in his ears. As soon as I woke up, I was just laughing. What, you are hurt, do you feel happy? Suliang turned around in shock, only to see Ji Hongchen sitting next to him, looking at him expressionlessly. There are still some marks on her forehead that have not disappeared, which seem to have appeared when she lay down to rest. Ji Hongchen, she has been guarding her here? A bold idea emerged in Suliang's mind. Are you okay? Suliang asked curiously. It stands to reason that Ji Hongchen should have been hurt more seriously than himself because his demonic mind was out of control and he almost went berserk. What can happen to me? Ji Hongchen pretended to be domineering and cold, but he couldn't hide the excitement and joy in his eyes. Now that you're awake, I'm leaving. I just came to see you. Say it. Ji Hongchen stood up and was about to leave. But when she walked outside the room door, she heard Suliang's voice, thank you. After a pause, Ji Hongchen's expression immediately softened. Fool, it's me who should thank you. If you hadn't saved me, I would have died long ago, right? Without saying anything, Ji Hongchen walked away directly. But only a moment later, she came back again, holding a huge bowl in her hand. As soon as he got closer, Suliang smelled a strange smell and looked a little strange. What's in your bowl? It's for your healing. Ji Hongchen put the bowl aside. Immediately. It was actually the jade hands that hugged Suliang and slowly supported Suliang up. He put several pillows on Suliang one after another to make Suliang more comfortable. Ji Hongchen held the bowl in one hand and the spoon in the other. He picked up a spoonful and blew it gently before bringing it to Suliang's mouth. Come on, open your mouth, ah. At this time, Ji Hongchen felt inexplicably warm and soft. Completely opposite to her usual domineering self, it gave her a contrasting cuteness. However, facing Ji Hongchen's gentleness, Suliang remained silent. After a long time, he sighed, if you want me to die, just say so. You don't have to torture me like this, right? As soon as these words came out, Ji Hongchen immediately became angry. I obviously used countless treasures from heaven and earth just to heal your injury. You actually said I want you to die? You have gone too far. Volume 1 Hashtag Chapter 474 Declaring War on the Mistresses. Now that you've discovered it, there's nothing we can do about it? Ji Hongchen laughed coldly. Yes, I have poisoned it. If you drink it, you will die immediately. Come on, don't be polite to me. However, it's not so much that it's vicious, but no matter how you look at it, Ji Hongchen looks like a little girl out of anger. Su Liang had no choice but to say helplessly, how on earth did you make this? Doesn't it taste too weird? Although I haven't tried it yet, with Su Liang's cooking skills, you can know the approximate taste just by smelling it. In this bowl, every single item tastes absolutely delicious when taken out individually. But when mixed together, there would be such a strange feeling, which Su Liang didn't expect. In order to heal you, I almost emptied the treasure house of the original demon section. It's better for you to just not appreciate it. How dare you dislike it? Ji Hongchen gritted his teeth and said, but then he had some doubts, is this thing really so unpalatable? While talking, Ji Hongchen tasted it himself. Then, after standing up, Ji Hongchen turned around and left. Sorry, I'm going to change a bowl for you right now. Ji Hongchen didn't even know that the food he made was not unpalatable, but simply hard to swallow. It's really strange. You and Su Liang obviously follow the same steps. They cut it and then stir-fry it together. How come the taste is so different? However, before Ji Hongchen could walk out, Su Liang stopped her and said, it's just a joke. Come on, I want to have a taste of your craftsmanship. Hear this. Ji Hongchen paused and turned around, her pretty face slightly red. Do you really want to taste it? Of course, I haven't tasted your craftsmanship yet. Su Liang was very serious. It's always you who eat what I cook, but I haven't eaten what you made. This is very unfair. There was silence for a moment. Ji Hongchen came back with something, picked up a spoonful, and handed it to Su Liang's mouth. Open your mouth. Ah! Su Liang opened his mouth and ate it, his expression as usual. Immediately, he actually nodded and said, well, actually, it tastes good, and the effect is also very good. I feel that my injuries have recovered a lot. Ji Hongchen laughed immediately. I just ate it, how could it have an effect so quickly? You must be lying to me. How is it possible? It really works. Su Liang said seriously, but actually felt a little strange in his heart. Although this stuff tastes weird, the effect is surprisingly good. It seemed that after being concocted by Ji Hongchen, this thing actually achieved the effect of refining medicine. Not only was the medicinal power not wasted, but when combined together, it became even more powerful. At least, Su Liang really felt that his injuries were improving rapidly. If so, as long as he drinks this bowl and rests for a while, Su Liang will probably recover. This change is simply miraculous. After eating the entire bowl, Ji Hongchen supported Su Liang and asked him to lie down. You have a good rest, I have some things to do. Her moment of loss of control actually had serious consequences. At least, the original demon sect was destroyed in many places. And the demonic energy surged upwards, and the nearby demonic sects were even more aware of it. Some people guessed that something was wrong with Ji Hongchen, and they all rushed over. These matters need to be dealt with bit by Ji Hongchen, and they cannot be suppressed directly. For Ji Hongchen, this was already troublesome. Well, don't worry about me. With you, I'll be fine soon. Su Liang nodded. He was not lying about these words. After Ji Hongchen left, Su Liang lay on the bed, watching the sunset in the distance, and slowly closed his eyes. If nothing happens, you should rest and let your body recover, which is the most important thing. Early the next morning, Su Liang already felt refreshed, and the injuries he had suffered earlier had now recovered a lot. Although it was still a bit difficult to attack with all his strength, at least he could practice slowly. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 522. And the potency of yesterday's medicine has not yet been fully digested. After Suliang fully absorbs it, not only will the injuries be perfectly restored, but the hidden injuries and hidden dangers left before will no longer exist. A blessing in disguise, Suliang was very satisfied with this result. Coming to the courtyard, holding a long sword, Suliang slowly started practicing the way of swordsmanship. With a cultivation level as strong as Jingmen's and still seeking breakthroughs in the way of swordsmanship, Suliang would naturally not slack off. However, Suliang hasn't practiced for long. Then a beautiful shadow fell from the sky and landed in front of Suliang. It was Ji Hongchen. Looking at Suliang, who was practicing, Ji Hongchen's expression changed and he immediately became angry. You have just recovered from your injury, and you started practicing. If you want to die, I will help you, so why should you? Hear this. Suliang stopped and turned to look at Ji Hongchen. As before, Ji Hongchen still felt like a domineering boss. But it's different from the deliberately created feeling before. At this moment, Ji Hongchen's sincere concern could not be concealed. Can't help but explain. Ji Hongchen pressed Suliang and asked him to sit next to him. Immediately, he put his jade hand on Suliang's wrist and felt it for a while, then he breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Huh, the injury has recovered somewhat." But he raised his eyebrows and said, "But, you haven't fully recovered yet, so don't think about practicing, you know." "I know, I think I can still move a little bit." "No, don't even think about it." Ji Hongchen's attitude was very firm. Then Suliang had no choice but to agree, but his expression was a little strange. This kind of gentleness in the midst of domination is really different. Both were silent for a moment. Ji Hongchen suddenly asked, "If I plan to let you go, what will you do?" "Of course I'm going back." "Go back and find my ladies." Although Suliang was surprised by Ji Hongchen's question, he still answered truthfully. When talking about his wives, the tenderness on Suliang's face was undisguised. "Speaking of which, we haven't seen each other for a few days, and I miss my wives too. They should all be worried about me." However, hearing this, Ji Hongchen's heart sank. By now, she had already changed her mind. After conquering Suliang, why would he reject him so harshly? Impossible. I must keep him by my side forever. As for Qin Binjiao and others, in Ji Hongchen's eyes, he has been classified as a mistress. Suliang 3 and I are destined to come here earlier than you. You mistresses, just wait for my punishment. Volume 1 Chapter 475 I will make you belong to me only. Ji Hongchen decided. Declaring war on the other mistresses. Even if there is something like Wanqing or a shadow of the past among them, Ji Hongchen is not afraid. For him alone, even if the whole world is his enemy, so what? Suliang. I will make you belong to me only. I, Ji Hongchen, am definitely not weaker than anyone else. For those who face their own competitors, the so-called mistresses. Ji Hongchen was full of confidence. What a shadow in the past, what a clear night, how could it be his opponent? Ji Hongchen had already thought about his actions. After arriving, she asked them to leave directly. After announcing Suliang's ownership, she took Suliang back directly. As for whether they are willing? If these were taken into consideration, how could Ji Hongchen be called the demonic emperor? Just kidding, when did I, a demonic person, ever care about other people's thoughts? As for the situation of taking action, Ji Hongchen was even less worried. Who dares to fight with me? Ji Hongchen said that even 11 Heng, who had not yet recovered, was no match for her, let alone others. He is not his enemy at all. Isn't it easy to go out and bring a young man back by yourself? However, but she never thought that she had not captured Suliang at all, and whether Suliang would agree with her approach. Certainly. All of this must be planned after Suliang recovers from his injuries. Otherwise, asking Suliang to follow him around even though he was injured, Ji Hongchen said that he simply couldn't bear to let it go. Will you feel bad? How can I, Ji Hongchen's man, suffer the slightest injustice? Then, in the original demon sect, the lives of Suliang and Ji Hongchen suddenly became peaceful. As for Suliang, this kind of tranquility is so boring. There aren't many ways to entertain yourself, so what can you do? In normal times, Suliang could still rely on cultivation to pass the time. But now, because of the injury, 11 Hang didn't even let him practice. He could only stay in the room every day. Even if he took a step out, Ji Hongchen would appear immediately and take Suliang back by force. Suliang knew that Ji Hongchen was concerned, and he was indeed touched in his heart. But Suliang would rather have less of this kind of touching. Because Suliang's injuries have actually almost recovered now. The injuries have been recovered, but I still can't move freely. This feeling is simply uncomfortable. If it were anyone else, Suliang might be able to play some games with her. But Ji Hongchen, citing concerns about Suliang's recovery from his injuries, refused to play with him at all. Even confiscated all those games. This day, Ji Hongchen took a stack of cards and quickly came to Suliang's room. Seeing as your injuries are almost recovered, how about we just play this game you mentioned? Spreading the cards in front of Suliang, Ji Hongchen smiled, obviously looking forward to it with great joy. Is this what you are talking about, truth or dare? Why does this name feel a bit weird? Suliang had taught Ji Hongchen this game, but Ji Hongchen had never bothered to play with him before. Today, she actually wanted to play. This is a bit magical. Certainly. The version taught by Suliang is of course simpler. It just uses cards to compare the sizes, and the loser chooses what kind of punishment. Anyway, I had nothing to do, so Suliang immediately agreed, okay. Immediately. Then he watched Ji Hongchen deal out a card, and they both turned it over at the same time and compared it. Lost the first game? Suliang was a little surprised, but he didn't care about anything. He thought about it and said, otherwise, I choose to take a big risk. No, you want to choose the truth. Ji Hongchen looked at Suliang calmly, his eyes were very intimidating. This, well, I want the truth. The corner of Suliang's mouth twitched. Is it okay to force others to choose? And immediately after, he heard Ji Hongchen ask, how many girlfriends do you have? Is the first question so straightforward? Suliang was stunned and thought about it carefully. Well, my girlfriend, sister, master, Chao Ji is graceful, Qing Qi and Yao Yao, and Jing Meng are cute, but in name they are. Then he told Ji Hongchen the number. Hear this. Ji Hongchen raised his eyebrows. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 523. There are so many mistresses who are ahead of me. Haha, you dare to rob me, Ji Hongchen, of my things, very good, you are finished. See how I punish you. The next round begins. As expected, Suliang lost again. This time, Suliang said directly and sensibly, I choose to tell the truth. Yeah, sensible. Ji Hongchen nodded with satisfaction, me and your girlfriends, which one do you choose? Hear this. Suliang fell silent. It must be my girlfriend, there is no need to think about it. But if he said that, wouldn't he be killed directly by Ji Hongchen? Then Suliang accepted the punishment directly and drank a bowl of soup made by Ji Hongchen himself. As expected of Ji Hongchen's craftsmanship, the taste is really hard to swallow and full of weirdness. However, seeing this scene, Ji Hongchen became happy. He was silent and did not answer. What does this mean? It means that he alone is more important than his girlfriends. This time, he went to declare his ownership of Suliang. I didn't expect it at all, I was just overthinking it. Immediately afterwards, the two played a few more games. But every time, Suliang lost, and was asked weird questions by Ji Hongchen. At this moment, how could Suliang not know that there was a problem here? Think about it. Suliang suddenly pointed to the sky outside the window. He Ying, why are you here? Where is the shadow of the past? Where is it? He must have come here to take Suliang away, don't even think about it. Ji Hongchen immediately turned around to look, but there was nothing there. Taking advantage of this time, Suliang decisively changed the positions of the two top cards. No. Ji Hongchen turned his head and looked at Suliang in confusion. Suliang acted very calmly, well, I must have read it wrong. That's it? Ji Hongchen nodded and didn't notice Suliang's movements at all. Immediately afterwards, the next game begins. After Ji Hongchen dealt the cards, the two opened the door. Really? This time, Ji Hongchen lost. Hey, no, why did I lose? I'm not. Without thinking, Ji Hongchen blurted out. But halfway through her words, she reacted and looked at Suliang with some embarrassment. Oops, in order to get a trick out of him, I had tampered with all the cards and replaced the one that belonged to me with a sure win one. It was exposed, what should I do? How about we shuffle the cards and start over? Suliang's smile was meaningful. After a few days of cultivation, Ji Hongchen was provided with those heavenly materials and earthly treasures that tasted strange but were surprisingly effective. Suliang's body recovered far beyond expectations. On this day, Ji Hongchen was impatient to wait. Put things away. Ji Hongchen came to Suliang and said, let's go, I will take you back to the holy land of righteousness. Real? Suliang was a little surprised and nodded immediately, okay, I'll pack my things. He's so excited. Could it be that he can't wait and wants to be with me alone? Ji Hongchen couldn't help laughing, but he stopped Suliang and said, there's no need to deal with it. Anyway, you can come back with me soon. Holy Mountain. The girls who had been scattered to practice before were all back here now. Qin Benjio was the first to arrive, looking at the deserted yard with a little melancholy. Thinking back on my experiences these past few days. Qin Benjio traveled through those small worlds and encountered countless dangers. But fortunately, Qin Benjio persisted. The most dangerous thing is the chaotic existence that connects the small worlds. Time and space are almost completely chaotic. Qin Benjio can only rely on her own accomplishments in the power of time and space to forcefully cross. I almost lost my way several times. But, for the sake of her husband, Qin Benjio will not be afraid no matter how dangerous it is. Finally, she left that place and returned here. And immediately after, it was Tan Kinja who returned from the Holy Land. Although she was practicing the Tan family martial arts and techniques given to her by concubine Tan, after all, her practice would be faster in a place with strong spiritual energy. Tan Kinja goes back and forth every day, but she never gets tired of it. But before Tan Kinja and Qin Benjio could say hello, Yang Kaoj is also back. Benjio, Sister Kinja. Yang Kaoj was a little surprised. After practicing in the demon-suppressing dragon veins, her dragon posture became stronger. Previously, She could only deal with those who had just entered transcendence and had to deal with the existence of the sea of suffering. But now, although it was still a sea of suffering, those powerful warriors of the sea of suffering were no longer her match. Immediately, Mu Qingqian and Tao Yaoyao returned together. Together with the Holy Sun, the two of them broke into the secret realm, and after successive battles, their cultivation levels made great breakthroughs. They even gained a lot of chance treasures. After greeting each other, several people gathered around, chatting and laughing. I didn't expect you to come back today. Qin Benjao was a little excited. Now, the only ones left are Sister Wanqing, Sister Jingmeng, and Sister He Ying. After everyone is here, we can set off to bring Sulang back. Although the relationship between Suliang and 11 Hang is still unclear. But seeing 11 Hang's tenderness and attachment to Suliang. Obviously, Qin Benjao and the others also called the Holy Lord sister. And even if he goes to the devil's way to save Suliang. Although they have become a lot stronger. But this time, the main force is still the same as before, Wanqing and Jingmeng. Those who are detached, or even less than detached, cannot get involved in such a high-end battle. It's just that I don't know when my aunt will come back. Tan Kinja has calmed down a lot considering the strong cultivation levels of Wanqing and the others. It is really difficult to become stronger. I can't tell you, it will take some time. But she just finished speaking. I haven't seen you for a few days. You guys have changed a lot. Wanqing's voice suddenly sounded from behind everyone. The girls looked back in surprise and saw Wanqing, Jingmeng, and 11 He Ying. Sister Wanqing, is your practice over? Qin Benjao asked curiously. It's over. Wanqing nodded. And the most important thing is that after some training, 11 Hang's strength has also recovered a lot. Although I can't defeat Ji Hongchen. But it was still possible to hold her back and let Wanqing and the others take Suliang away. Let's go inside first and then discuss how to bring our good disciple back. Wanqing said softly, but her eyes were full of impatience. The master was taken away right in front of his eyes. If he doesn't rescue him for a moment, Wanqing won't be able to let go for a moment. But right now. Boom. A powerful aura wave suddenly appeared from the distant sky. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 524. 11 He Ying, Wanqing, and Jingmeng were suddenly startled. They all turned their heads and looked in that direction. Ji Hongchen? Why is she here? After hearing this, all the girls became uneasy. Even though Ji Hongchen had cultivated Tongxian and his strength was unfathomable, they were not afraid. They were just worried that since Ji Hongchen was here again, their husband. No, no, absolutely impossible. This is the thought. All the girls couldn't help it anymore and hurriedly wanted to fly up to see what happened. Available immediately. 11 Hang stopped them. I seem to feel his breath. Available immediately. 11 Hang was confused, but how could Ji Hongchen send him back in person? What happened? After hearing this, the girls looked at each other, and for a moment, they were all a little confused. And along with the doubts of the girls. Next moment. Boom. While the dust was flying, Ji Hongchen fell in front of everyone. And in her hand was Suliang. There is another one, Qin Wanyu. Now that I have helped my husband achieve his goal, I naturally want to come back with my husband. Qin Wanyu said that her husband was gone and what was the point of being alone in the original demon sect? But actually, when she secretly went to find her husband, she was caught red-handed by Ji Hongchen. Ji Hongchen, what are you doing here? 11 Hang immediately stepped forward and stood in front of everyone. Could it be that you sent our Suliang back to us on purpose? Well, Suliang has arrived, you can leave. Are you kidding me? Ji Hongchen sneered, You're Suliang? No, he is my Suliang. As soon as these words came out, both the girls and Suliang were all stunned. All I can say is that he is worthy of being his husband. In just a few days, even the Demon King was able to be brought back together. Only, we were all so worried about you, but what did you do? Lang Jun, return our worries. Then, one by one, they all looked at Suliang with unkind expressions. To this, Suliang said that he was really innocent. I just cooked a few meals for her, made her some clothes, played some games with her, and saved her once by the way. Who knows why she became like this? Different from Qin Benjao and others. Knowing Ji Hongchen's past very well, he immediately noticed something was wrong. What on earth are you here for? Of course, I'm helping Suliang to clear up the relationship with you. Ji Hongchen said matter-of-factly, he is mine and will be with me from now on. As for you, just a passerby in life. He personally promised this. Impossible. Volume 1 # Chapter 476, Lin Zhan defeats Ji Hongchen. Qin Benjao and others immediately denied it. It's not that the worry is true, but that they know Suliang too well and believe in Suliang's feelings for them. How could my husband do such a thing? Even Suliang looked shocked. When did I say such a thing? Have you forgotten what you promised me? Ji Hongchen's pretty face darkened. During the game before, I asked you whether you would choose me or your girlfriend, but you remained silent. Doesn't it mean that I am more important than them? No, I really want to choose a girlfriend, but I'm afraid that if I say it, I'll be beaten to death by you. Suliang was silent for a moment and explained. So, what about that time? Ji Hongchen slowly opened his mouth and asked several questions in succession. What I got was a completely different answer than I imagined. This moment, Ji Hongchen was completely stunned. He showed up arrogantly, but he didn't expect that he would become cold so quickly. This moment, Qin Benjao and others all looked at Ji Hongchen with incomprehensible expressions. You don't even know what Lang Jun is thinking, so you just acted so recklessly? I've never heard of people who are in the devil's way. Their brains will be hard to use. Facing the girls, Ji Hongchen himself felt extremely embarrassed. Suliang himself didn't agree. Wouldn't it be too embarrassing if he insisted on having his own way? But these things are nothing to Ji Hongchen. Suliang doesn't want to. It doesn't matter, just take it back first, and slowly, he will think about it. Then, Ji Hongchen had a cold face and was extremely domineering. Suliang, I must take him away today. Even 11 Hang, you can't keep him, I said so. Oh, today is no different than in the past. If you think you can definitely suppress me, then you can give it a try. 11 Hang was not afraid at all. Although my strength is still affected to some extent, it is still no problem to hold you back. What's more, this place is the holy land of righteousness, and you are alone now. As long as I can hold you back, do you think you can still leave? Hear this. Ji Hongchen's expression turned even colder. I've really been underestimated. It seems that when I backed down for Suliang, I made you misunderstand that I'm afraid of you. It seems that it's time for you to see the terror of the Demon King. Stay with me to the end. 11 Hang was equally cold, and she did not give in at all regarding Suliang. Then, the Holy Master of the Righteous Way and the Emperor of the Demonic Way, the two most powerful people in the world, started to confront each other. For a while, the atmosphere was extremely solemn, as if a war was about to break out at any time. But at this moment, Qin Benjao suddenly spoke up, otherwise, we let Suliang make his own choice. Hear this. 11 Hang nodded directly. This method is very good. After all, this is her own territory, and once a fight breaks out, she really doesn't care about anything else. The Holy Land has gone through so many hardships recently that it really cannot afford to be damaged. Ji Hongchen didn't even think about it and said directly, no. Just kidding, Suliang's attitude has already been expressed. If she agrees to this request, won't she definitely fail? It seems that even the demonic emperor is afraid of failure. Qin Benjiao said with a smile. How is it possible? How could I lose? Ji Hongchen directly vetoed it to cover up his panic. Actually, she was really worried that she would lose. Suliang agreed that he would always be with her. How could she lose him? If you're not afraid, why don't you dare to agree? Qin Benjiao followed the temptation. Of course, I promise you, even if you lose in the end, as long as you can let us see your intentions, we don't mind you staying with Suliang. Humph, with you? What a joke. Ji Hongchen snorted softly. At this point, he had no choice but to agree. Well, let me show you the terror of the Demon King. This time, you will definitely lose, so be prepared. At night. Naturally, it was a banquet prepared for Suliang. Although each process is somewhat different from what they imagined. But now that my husband has returned from the devil's path, well, this is already something worth celebrating. On the dinner table, Qin Benjiao and others each made a dish for Suliang and served it, hoping to let Lang Jun have a taste of their craftsmanship. And Ji Hongchen is naturally no exception. But Suliang said he couldn't accept the strange dish that Ji Hongchen made. After passing through Ji Hongchen's hands, the effect of Tianke Daibao was indeed better. But ordinary food can only be said to be difficult to swallow. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 525. Then. For almost the entire banquet, Suliang didn't touch Ji Hongchen's plate of food. At the end, Ji Hongchen couldn't bear it anymore, so he picked up a pair of chopsticks and handed it to Suliang's mouth. Eat, open your mouth. I think it's not necessary, right? Suliang refused repeatedly. The food was difficult to swallow, and Ji Hongchen's overbearing feeding method was also included. Suliang had no idea of accepting it. Qin Benjiao on the other side saw the scene and smiled softly. Oh, it seems that Lang Jun is very unwilling to accept the kindness of Senior Ji Hongchen. But, in my opinion, this is entirely your own problem. Nonsense, how could I have a problem? Ji Hongchen directly rejected it. It's not that there are problems, it's that there are no problems. Qin Benjiao said and started to get started directly and demonstrated in person. Picking up a delicacy with chopsticks, Qin Benjiao only ate half of it. Stepping forward, Qin Benjiao gave Suliang a signal with a smile on her face. How could Suliang not accept his wife's feeding? Then, Suliang took control of the other end without any hesitation. Immediately, chewing and chewing, soon the food became less and less until it disappeared. And Suliang and Qin Benjiao have also gotten together. Saw this scene. Ji Hongchen was completely shocked. Is there such a method? Why had I never thought of this before? Ji Hongchen knew it without looking at Suliang's attitude. If you lose, you will lose miserably. There's no comparison at all. After the dinner, everyone in the Su family gathered together, chatted and laughed for a while, then dispersed and prepared to rest. And this time, Qin Benjiao suddenly asked, who is Suliang with tonight? As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes turned to Suliang. See this. Ji Hongchen immediately became excited. Your opportunity has arrived. As long as he can make Suliang willingly follow him, wouldn't that prove that he is better than them? Then, Ji Hongchen walked slowly to Suliang, with his head held high and extremely domineering. Young man, I allow you to stay with me today. This is a great honor. However, don't know why. Ji Hongchen found that everyone else looked at him with a very strange look. There seems to be contempt and pity in it. But the next moment. Volume 1 # Chapter 477, Force is no match for sincerity. Mu Qingqian came forward and said, Senior Brother Su, I asked Benjao before and I know you like it, so I specially bought the cat ear suit. I am waiting for you in the room. Say it. Her pretty face turned red and she left without looking back. Immediately afterwards, Tao Yaoyao also came forward, Brother Suliang, I prepared some. I don't know if you like the puppy look. Good guy. Mu Qingqian and Tao Yaoyao were almost identical. Together, no one could beat them. Now, this is the suit again. How can you miss this? Then, Suliang stood up, said good night to Ji Hongchen, and followed him directly. Then, Ji Hongchen was the only one left in the room, and he was called a defeated dog. I searched for it all by myself, but was rejected. They just said a word and left. This gap is really too big. Be reasonable. However, Ji Hongchen was very strong and top-notch. In all aspects, he was no less impressive than He Ying in the past. But when it comes to flirting with and getting along with her boyfriend, she is a complete noob. Early the next morning, Ji Hongchen's pretty face was a little gloomy as she walked around the mansion, trying to find Suliang's whereabouts. Ji Hongchen still couldn't let go of his previous failure. How could I, Ji Hongchen, fail? How could I not even be able to attract a young man? He was completely unaware of the fact that he was a complete noob. And finally, in the yard, she saw Suliang, who was staying with 11 Hang and chatting warmly. See this? Ji Hongchen raised his eyebrows, feeling inexplicably confident. I may not be able to compare with others. After all, they have been with Suliang for a long time, so it is understandable that they have a deeper relationship. But 11 Hang, I heard that he didn't need to show up much earlier, and he was only close to Suliang, so there was no confirmation at all. With 11 Hang like this, how could he possibly lose? Then, Ji Hongchen approached him confidently. Standing with his hands behind his hands, Ji Hongchen's arrogance and domineering attitude were clearly visible. I want to go out for a walk and have a good look at the Holy Land of Righteousness. You go with me? I made such a straightforward invitation, how could Suliang refuse? The two of us are destined to meet each other now. How can you compare with He Ying in the past? However, to Ji Hongchen's surprise, Suliang did not hesitate and shook his head. If you have nothing to do this afternoon, I can accompany you. But now, after all, it was 11 Hang who came first, asking Suliang to leave 11 Hang behind and accompany Ji Hongchen? Suliang couldn't do this kind of differential treatment. And take the demonic emperor to visit the Holy Land of Righteousness? This kind of thing feels very inappropriate when I think about it. You actually rejected me. Ji Hongchen was stunned. After a long while, he woke up, gritted his silver teeth, and asked in dissatisfaction, why? How am I any worse than before? It has nothing to do with this. Suliang shook his head. Just as he was about to explain something, he was interrupted by 11 Hang. I saw. 11 Hang actually snuggled directly into Suliang's arms. His little head rested on Suliang's chest, with a happy and sweet smile on his face. Very naturally, as if it were a memory left over countless years, Suliang put his hand on 11 Hang's head and stroked it gently. 11 Hang narrowed his eyes happily, and after a moment, he said softly, relationships are not such a simple thing. Although your cultivation is rare in the world, you are unexpectedly bad at this aspect. I just don't want to be said like that by you. You, a person who has used the body of a doll and almost gave up on emotions, do you have the nerve to say that I don't understand emotions? Ji Hongchen was almost furious, but he couldn't refute. After all, The person who had just rejected him was now letting 11 Hang cuddle up in his arms, so intimate. It turns out that I can't even compare to the shadow of the past. Ji Hongchen was so desperate that she just wanted to hide her face and burst into tears, but the domineering and majestic demonic emperor did not allow her to do so. At last, she could only point at Suliang and 11 Hang tremblingly, then turned and left. Snored. For Suliang's sake, I won't argue with you. Just wait, I will definitely win you one day. In the groggy afternoon, Ji Hongchen still couldn't let go of losing to 11 Hang. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 526. There seems to be a hot spring in this yard. Otherwise, go take a shower and rest. As for Suliang, we can only figure it out slowly. After being hit one after another, even the domineering Ji Hongchen realized that he was no match for Qin Binjiao and others in this aspect. Coupled with Suliang's firm attitude, for a moment, Ji Hongchen had no hope of victory. As for taking Suliang back and staying with him alone forever, Ji Hongchen no longer hopes for this kind of thing. For her, staying with Suliang was a difficult task. Still wanted exclusive? This is not the way to dream. After changing clothes, Ji Hongchen went directly to the hot spring. Yuzo tested it and found that the temperature was just right. Ji Hongchen nodded with satisfaction and sank in, leaving only his little head outside, which was very comfortable. But at this moment, a voice that was very familiar to Ji Hongchen sounded, "Hey, there's someone inside." "I don't know who is inside. They are all sisters anyway, so Liang doesn't have to worry about anything." While talking, two figures walked in from the door, side by side. It's Suliang and Tan Qinjia. After meeting Ji Hongchen, Suliang was stunned, and subconsciously turned around and left. "Ahem, sorry, I didn't know you were in there, you go on, I'll leave first." However, looking at this scene, Ji Hongchen's eyes flashed. This is an opportunity. At this moment, only Tan Qinjia was beside Suliang. Be reasonable. Although Tan Qinjia is indeed familiar with Suliang, and her body is exquisite and plump, and her figure is perfect, but compared to Ji Hongchen's, it was still far behind. Ji Hongchen believes that Suliang knows which one to choose. To this, Ji Hongchen was very confident. Then, Ji Hongchen pretended to be calm and waved, "No problem, come in, I don't care." "Don't care? I think you are eager for it, right?" Tan Qinjia cursed in her heart, but she remained calm on the surface. Instead, she held Suliang's arm and said, "Since Senior Ji Hongchen doesn't care anymore, shall we go in?" Isn't this not good?" Suliang hesitated. But then he saw Ji Hongchen wave his hand, and a powerful force emerged, hugging Suliang and falling directly in. Puff. After breaking out, Suliang looked at Ji Hongchen in front of him, still a little confused. "You just let me in. Is this necessary?" But Ji Hongchen didn't think there was anything wrong with what he did. Instead, he confidently said to Suliang, "Young man, I allow you to approach me." Between a perfect Tan Qinjia and a beyond the limit Ji Hongchen, which one should you choose? "Young man, you must understand, right?" However, to Ji Hongchen's surprise, Suliang shook his head directly, "I don't think it's necessary." Suliang really didn't feel that his relationship with Ji Hongchen had reached this point. Even though they are forced to come in, there still needs to be a certain distance. But this time, Ji Hongchen finally couldn't bear it anymore. "I said, let you come over. Ji Hongchen raised his eyebrows and made a move with his jade hands. Immediately, Suliang felt that he was out of control at all and flew directly to Ji Hongchen. Next moment, puff! Ji Hongchen wrapped her arms around Suliang's head and pressed it directly on the peak. Moment. The unprecedented softness and elasticity made his whole body sink in, making it difficult to break free. However, different from my own ladies. At this moment, Suliang felt helpless and speechless. Such forceful teasing was really Ji Hongchen's style. But this method has no effect at all. Okay. Not only did it not move his heart, but it actually made him resist. Force, after all, is no match for sincere acceptance. Unsurprisingly, Suliang had begun to resist. Suliang didn't even accept his master's original actions, let alone Ji Hongchen. Hey, can't you be more honest? Ji Hongchen was helpless. Why is it that every time, the development of facts is different from what she imagined? Did Suliang definitely accept it? This is simply a lie. If he accepted it, why would he struggle? And this time, Tan Kinja has also walked down. Senior, it's not okay to move forward like this haphazardly. Tan Kinja slowly came to Ji Hongchen's side, took Suliang's hand, and with a little force, she pulled Suliang to her side. What do I do that you need to take care of? Ji Hongchen didn't appreciate it at all. He glared at Tan Kinja and spoke very rudely. To this, Tan Kinja didn't care, she just pulled Suliang and walked away. Senior, emotional matters are ultimately about your own will. Even though Senior is a master of Xianxian and has strong strength, no matter what aspect, he is better than Kinja has advantages, but Senior's compulsion is wrong after all. Listening to Tan Kinja's words, Ji Hongchen subconsciously wanted to refute. Just kidding, when did I, Ji Hongchen, need someone else to teach me how to do things? However, but she had no words to say. In fact, even she knew that what Tan Kinja said was right. But what should I do? Suliang doesn't want to talk to him at all. Ji Hongchen had not experienced this feeling of being frustrated one after another for a long time, and for a moment, he actually felt a little depressed. But soon, she couldn't care less about her frustration. I saw. On the other side of the hot springs, Tan Kinja hugged Suliang from behind, resting her little head on Suliang's shoulder, with a smile as bright as a flower. Liang, sister is here to wipe you. Ahem, is this really suitable? Suliang hesitated a little. If he and Tan Kinja were the only ones here, he would be happy to accept it. After all, she is my wife. However, there is also Ji Hongchen here, which is really inappropriate. What's inappropriate about this? Tan Kinja's eyes widened as she smiled. Or are you saying, Liang, that you have begun to dislike your sister? How is that possible? Suliang immediately denied it. My feelings for my sister will never change. That's pretty much it? Tan Kinja smiled even happier. Immediately, he hugged Suliang urgently, and the high peaks turned into hills under the pressure. Next moment, then he started wiping up, down, left and right. Ji Hongchen was shocked when he saw this scene. How could it still be like this? Sure enough, I lost without reason. Even if Ji Hongchen has been alive for who knows how many years, his cultivation is already rare and he has a lot of knowledge. He can be regarded as one of the most knowledgeable people in the world, and he is in the devil's path. But I never knew it could be like this. It can be said that Ji Hongchen is too pure. Even 11 Hang knows much more than she does. And just when Ji Hongchen was surprised. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 527. Tan Kinja has finished the work on her back. Immediately. There was no intention of stopping at all, and he moved directly to Suliang. Her arms were wrapped around Suliang's neck, and her plump and slender legs were tied around her waist. Tan Kinja suppressed Suliang, stepped forward and kissed him lightly. Immediately. Just press forward and start the work in front of you. Especially. When Tan Kinja was up and down, she was suppressed and kept away. Not long after. Tan Kinja's pretty face had a hint of blush. With hazy eyes, Tan Kinja leaned forward again and kissed her deeply. Hiss. Looking at this scene, Ji Hongchen took a breath of air. What was happening before her eyes was beyond her comprehension. Surprisingly, it can still be like this? Isn't this too scary? Why do these people have so much knowledge? It can't be compared, it can't be compared at all. If we talk about what happened before, it just made Ji Hongchen know that he failed, but he didn't know the reason. Now, Tan Kinja's various methods made Ji Hongchen realize his shortcomings. Compared with their methods, my own teasing is really nothing. Even if you say he is tough, he is not worthy of it. Really. It was really unfair for me to lose to them. But the gap was really too big. Even if he wanted to practice, learn, or make up for it, Ji Hongchen didn't know what to do. Her knowledge base in this area was very poor and could not give her any useful information at all. Are you destined to lose? Ji Hongchen sighed, speechless and choked. For a while. I just feel lost in my heart and don't want to stay here anymore. Then. Ji Hongchen walked out slowly, and after changing his clothes, he completely left this place to Tan Kinja and Suliang. Walking in the courtyard, Ji Hongchen was very silent. What method should I use to stay with Suliang? As for giving up? Impossible, absolutely impossible. I finally met him, how could I give up? Even if 11 Hang was blocking the road ahead, Ji Hongchen would never give up. But it is. What was blocking her now was far more terrifying than anything before. If you want to crack it, there is no way to do it. And just then, Qin Benjiao appeared in front of Ji Hongchen with a gentle smile on her face. Senior, are you worried about something? Volume 1 # Chapter 478, Red Dust's Counterattack. Ji Hongchen knew Qin Benjiao very well. After all, he was the first person to follow Suliang, and he always claimed to be the official one. Although the main palace does not have any prestige, it is always bullied. Why, do you want to defeat me too? Ji Hongchen said angrily. How can it be? Qin Benjiao immediately denied it. I'm here to help my sister. This call of sister made Ji Hongchen feel very comfortable and inexplicably felt recognized. Even the somewhat dull mood was relieved a lot. Ji Hongchen asked, what can you help me with? Of course, I'm helping my sister handle Suliang. Qin Benjiao's tone became gentler. Sisters at home, I know Suliang best. I know exactly what Suliang likes, what he hates, and what he can't resist. Even Suliang himself may not be able to understand him as well as I can. So what? Ji Hongchen's heart skipped a beat and he became a little excited. So, I will teach all these to my sister. And actually, it's not impossible for you to be the principal palace. With this sentence, Qin Benjiao directly made a big deal, which directly attracted Ji Hongchen's full attention. It's so sinister. And Ji Hongchen actually believed it? Taking Suliang away is no longer feasible. But at this location in the main palace, Ji Hongchen felt that she could look forward to it. I, Ji Hongchen, am no weaker than anyone else. I am the one who deserves to sit in this position in the main palace. Then, Ji Hongchen nodded directly, okay. I was really fooled into being fooled. Looking at this scene, Tao Yaoyao felt a chill. I am familiar with this wave. Tao Yaoyao remembered it very clearly. When he was defeated by Mu Qingqian, the eldest sister had the same attitude. Then, she was trained by Qin Benjiao in various ways. In the end, although I suffered a lot, the result was pretty good. At least, she had already defeated Mu Qingqian at that time. So, although the eldest sister is indeed a bit sinister, this training should be useful, right? And the other side. The conversation between Ji Hongchen and Qin Binjiao continued. How are you going to help me? Train. Qin Binjiao said seriously, don't worry, sister, I will use the shortest possible time to make her succeed. Good. Ji Hongchen nodded and agreed. If this happens, it will be just around the corner for me to become the main palace. When the time comes, are you still afraid that you won't be able to arrange 11 hang and them? Hum, these mistresses who rob other people's people, wait for me, Ji Hongchen, to come out of seclusion, and then see how I punish you. As for this Qin Binjiao, this girl is nice, very sensible, and can be forgiven. Then, in the room, under Qin Binjiao's guidance, Ji Hongchen began to train. For Sulang, each of us is different and has our own advantages. Qin Binjiao obviously did not intend to teach her the specific method, but let her understand Sulang's thoughts and figure it out for herself, so, sister should give full play to her own advantages. Only in that way can it be possible for my sister to leave her own place in Sulang's heart. My own advantage? Ji Hongchen pinched his chin, thoughtfully. She already has a specific idea in her mind. And immediately, Ji Hongchen even heard an advanced method from Qin Binjiao. Using your advantage and making a certain degree of inversion, as long as you can control this degree well, you can create a feeling of contrast. Qin Binjiao said seriously, for example, the enchanting sister 11 hang. Hear this. That picture appeared directly in Ji Hongchen's mind. Hiss. Ji Hongchen took a breath of air. Even she couldn't resist the sight of that posture. He kept thinking, and soon, one plan after another took shape in Ji Hongchen's mind. After some tough training, Ji Hongchen finally came out of seclusion with confidence. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 528. What a shadow of the past, Tan Kinja. This time, I, Ji Hongchen, will definitely not lose to you. Then, Ji Hongchen immediately approached Suliang. And at this moment, Suliang Zhen was accompanying Wan Qing, and the two of them were practicing normal swordsmanship. After all, Suliang has now reached the realm of transcendence and entered the sea of suffering. Compared with before transcendence, this is a completely new world. As a master, Wan Qing naturally has to teach him well. Certainly, personal kendo instruction is naturally indispensable. While the two were resting, Ji Hongchen came to the door. My foundation is deep, my qi is majestic, and my understanding of the way of the sword is also very good. Ji Hongchen clapped his hands and commented on Suliang's training. In this realm of suffering, you are already invincible. Hear this. Suliang was stunned for a moment, and then said, thank you for the compliment. At this moment, Ji Hongchen no longer had the toughness and domineering attitude before, and seemed to be a different person. It really made Suliang a little uncomfortable. And immediately after, Ji Hongchen walked straight to Suliang. Holding Suliang's chin with his jade hand, Ji Hongchen had a smile on his face and a gentle tone, but his words were very domineering. I have something to ask you, how about staying with me for a while? This. Suliang hesitated a little. If it were Ji Hongchen who had been domineering and tough before, Suliang could still reject it outright. But now this Ji Hongchen is domineering yet gentle, which is really hard to refuse. Don't refuse. Before Suliang could speak, Ji Hongchen pressed her jade fingers on Suliang's mouth. It's very impolite to refuse someone else's invitation casually. At this point, Suliang had no choice but to agree. And Liang couldn't even think of rejecting Ji Hongchen like this. Then, in a daze, Liang was abducted by Ji Hongchen. As for wonking, if you can't win again and again, what else can you do? I could only stamp my feet and leave minding my own business. In the room, seeing Ji Hongchen sitting next to him, Liang asked in confusion, "Why are you looking for me?" "It's okay, can't I find you?" Ji Hongchen squinted his eyes and smiled, looking at Liang without blinking. "Since you came here, you haven't spent much time with me. Why, do you hate me?" "That's not true." Liang shook his head and denied Ji Hongchen's words. "So, how about taking some time to spend with me?" Ji Hongchen followed Liang's words and held Liang's hand in his. "You ignore me, actually I'm very unhappy." His. Liang almost gasped. "We haven't seen each other in just a short time. When did Ji Hongchen change so much? This kind of domination has a touch of tenderness and attachment. Isn't it too flirtatious?" This contrasting and contradictory feeling seldom harmonizes with Ji Hongchen. Even Liang couldn't help but feel excited for a moment. Volume 1 Chapter 479, Lang Jun's birthday, girls gearing up. "I'm fine today," Liang said subconsciously. But as soon as the words came out of his mouth, he realized something was wrong. By saying this at this time, doesn't it mean that he is tacitly agreeing to accompany Ji Hongchen? It's not good, something is really not good. That's great. Ji Hongchen smiled, and then slowly leaned into Liang's arms like a bird clinging to someone. With her little head resting on Liang's chest, Ji Hongchen gently caressed Liang's face with her jade hands, with a happy and sweet smile on her face. "I have been looking forward to this moment for a long time. It's just that you have been ignoring me, and you even joined others in attacking me. I thought I would never see the scene again. I think this must be a misunderstanding," Liang said stiffly. "I don't know whether it's Ji Hongchen's inexplicable feeling or the matter of attacking her. All in all." At this moment, Liang didn't dare to move at all. The overlord of one side, one of the most powerful people in the world. At this moment, she was like a little girl, nestled in the arms of her lover, pouring out her heart. This feeling of contrast is really hard to bear. Especially. This time, Ji Hongchen was not so tough. "Nestling in my arms, the peak presses me, but it is not overbearing, but seems to be there. But it is exactly this that can make people impressed and subconsciously pay attention." Liang felt that it could not go on like this. It was too difficult for Ji Hongchen to stand in this posture, and Liang didn't want to test his will. Then, Liang thought for a while and then changed the topic directly. "Why don't I call Benjao and the others to play games together?" However, Ji Hongchen shook his head and said softly, "I just want you to stay with me alone, okay?" There was silence for a moment. Liang nodded with difficulty, "Okay." When Ji Hongchen walked out of the room, there was still an unquenchable smile on his face. "Today, it is finally my victory." What Qin Benjao said was indeed right. As long as he changed his approach a little, Liang would be sure to win. Well, keep up the good work, continue studying, and strive to win over Liang as soon as possible. The position of the main palace belongs to me, Ji Hongchen. As for monopolizing Liang, Ji Hongchen had forgotten all about it a long time ago, and what he wants now is just a palace. And for this location, Ji Hongchen was determined to win and very confident. But he didn't notice at all that Qin Benjao, who was hiding in the dark, looked at the scene with a proud smile on his face. "If you do this, you can be considered helping your husband, right?" Early the next morning, Ji Hongchen walked out of the room, feeling refreshed after a rare good sleep. However, when she saw Liang, her pretty face turned slightly red. Yesterday was so smooth that her sleep was filled with Liang's figure. Until now, it has not subsided, making her unable to tell whether it was true or false for a moment, and she almost screamed out the sound of Lang Jun in her sleep. Since yesterday went well, today, I will take advantage of the situation to pursue it and win it completely. Ji Hongchen had an idea in his mind and walked straight towards Sul Yang. However, before she could reach Sul Yang, but a beautiful figure appeared in advance and stood in front of her. It is a shadow of the past. Shall I help you make breakfast? 11 Hang said with a gentle smile, holding Sul Yang's arm. I think it's better not to use it. Sul Yang thought of what 11 Hang had made before. You are the holy master, so don't bother with this little thing, I'll do it. Outside, I may be the holy master, but in front of you, I am just a little girl. 11 Hang had already shaken his head, his eyes shining. To be so attached to the Holy Lord of Righteousness, the strongest person in righteousness, and to say such words. It was true that Sul Yang was having a hard time calming down. Just rest. Sul Yang touched 11 Hang's head naturally, as if he had left a habit in the past. I can do this little thing. 11 Hang nodded and wanted to turn around and go out. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 529. Anyway, it's nice to watch him from outside. As for staying here, it would cause him trouble. However, seeing this opportunity, Ji Hongchen immediately appeared and stood beside Sul Yang. Since 11 He Ying has left, why don't you come with me to accompany you? Hiss. Sul Yang immediately took a breath of air and refused. No, absolutely not. It's just an ordinary breakfast, not a natural treasure. If 11 Hang were to intervene, the taste would definitely become very strange. Okay, I'm just watching from the sidelines, and I definitely won't interfere indiscriminately. Ji Hongchen said with a smile, I just don't want you to be lonely. Why, don't you like having someone with you? I can't say I don't like it, it's just. Sul Yang was a little hesitant, but looked at Ji Hongchen's tender smile with a domineering feeling. In the end, he could only nod his head. Okay, just watch from the side. Ji Hongchen like this is simply irresistible. What else could Sul Yang do? Anyway, she was just watching and it wouldn't be a problem, so just let her go. And see this. 11 Hang raised her eyebrows, turned around and walked back. Since she stays here, I won't leave either. While talking, 11 Hang stared at Ji Hongchen closely. Some people in the province do some shameful things when no one is around. Why are you two at odds again? Sul Yang looked at the beauties around him and felt a little headache. It's really a bit of a hindrance to let them stay. But if you don't stay, there is no way I can say it. Then, Sul Yang could only act like this for the time being. However, turning around, you can bump into Ji Hongchen's arms. He took a step back, but was picked up by 11 Hang. It is really difficult to make progress. At last, Sul Yang couldn't bear it anymore and said helplessly, you two go out and wait. I can come here alone. Hear this. Ji Hongchen and 11 Hang looked at each other and smiled sweetly. Okay, then, I'll wait for you outside. Immediately. Then he and 11 Hang walked out together. See this. Sul Yang breathed a sigh of relief and quickly prepared breakfast. On the dinner table, 11 Hang and Ji Hongchen glared at everyone who came. To the end. He just grabbed the positions on Sul Yang's left and right. Here, eat this, this is delicious. 11 Hang picked up a small dish with chopsticks and handed it to Sul Yang's mouth. To this, Sul Yang opened his mouth subconsciously. Immediately, it was fed into his mouth. Can be followed immediately. Ji Hongchen's voice also sounded, I want to eat this, can you feed it to me? Suliang turned around and looked. Just in time to see it. Ji Hongchen held his arm, his mouth slightly open. I don't think this is appropriate. Suliang refused. Is there anything inappropriate? I will feed you again later. Say it. The little head moved closer to Suliang, obviously looking forward to it. See this. Suliang could only pick up a chopstick and bring it to Ji Hongchen's mouth. Ouch. Ji Hongchen ate it in one bite with a satisfied smile on his face. Well, as expected of you, it's really delicious. I would be so happy if I could eat what you cook for the rest of my life. Hiss. So flirty. Ji Hongchen's change must be too big. Who taught it? Could it be that she is my girlfriend? It must be right. No matter what happens at home, it is definitely right to look for your girlfriend first. Then. Suliang immediately turned his head to Qin Benjiao. Qin Benjiao looked confused. What does Suliang think he is doing? Could it be that he discovered his little tricks? It shouldn't be, I'm obviously very secretive. After breakfast, Qin Benjiao and Tan Qinja called everyone in the same room. This time, even Ji Hongchen, who had just arrived here not long ago, was there. Something big is going to happen recently. Qin Benjiao looked at the girl seriously. Suliang's birthday is coming soon. To this, Tan Qinja nodded and confirmed, yes, this is Liang's first birthday since we met him, so we must not miss it. This sentence caused all the girls to nod. Your husband's birthday must be well decorated and celebrated. And be sure to give your husband some surprises. Especially Mu Qingqian. Not long ago, Senior Brother Su celebrated his birthday. On Senior Brother Su's birthday, I must make Senior Brother Su happy. It's just that we need to think carefully about how to celebrate Suliang's birthday. Qin Benjiao said seriously. Immediately, the girls gathered together and discussed each other. Even Jingmeng, Ji Hongchen, and 11 Haing participated in it, which was extremely lively. Before Suliang's birthday, all the girls started making preparations in advance. Early in the morning, when it was just dawn, Wan Qing and Tan Qinja went straight out of the house. Obviously, you need to purchase things that are prepared in advance, including ingredients, as well as the layout of the scene, and the materials for making their respective gifts. They didn't want Suliang to know these things, otherwise, wouldn't there be no surprise at all? Holy Mountain, in the city. Tan Qinja took Wan Qing to the store where she last bought cloth. Benjiao and the others said they would make some clothes, not for Liang, but for us to wear ourselves. Tan Qinja explained to Wan Qing. To this, Wan Qing understood very well. It was originally worn to show Master, so of course I had to do it better. As for my thoughts for Master, Wan Qing said that it was okay for Master to give it to her, but it seemed inappropriate for her to give it to Master. Then, Wan Qing and Tan Qinja started selecting in advance in the store. Qin Benjiao's design drawings have not been drawn yet. However, the general style, color, and material have already been determined. They can buy the materials first and wait for Qin Benjiao's design drawings to come out, and then they can start production immediately. After learning from Suliang, they are still very confident in Qin Benjiao's design level. However, just when they all made their selections and were about to pay and leave, but Suliang walked in directly with Ying Keoj. When they met, whether it was Ying Keoj, Tan Qinja, or Wan Qing, they were all stunned. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 530. How could we meet them here? The purchase and preparation by Tan Qinja and others was originally a surprise prepared in secret, so naturally they had to hide it from Suliang. and in order not to let Suliang know, they specially sent someone to pester Suliang to go on a date as a cover-up. And Yang Kaoj is the first. However, they really didn't expect that they would meet each other even though they were so fully and meticulously prepared. So, what exactly have we prepared? Sister, master, what are you? Suliang looked at the large amount of materials in their hands with some confusion. Why on earth can my sister and master buy so much at once? Suliang expressed doubts about this. Ha, ha, we were just taking a look. Tan Kinja concealed her embarrassment. The incident happened suddenly, and they were not prepared to say anything at all. Just take a look and buy this much. Suliang became even more suspicious, especially Tan Kinja's attitude, which made him very confused. What's going on with my sister? She's just buying some things. Why does she feel so nervous? Could it be that you are doing something behind your back? As for Suliang's question, Tan Kinja and Wan Qing couldn't answer at all for a while. Yes, I just bought it casually, but I bought so much. It's totally unreasonable. At this moment, Yang Kaoj came to his senses and said, Lang Jun, let's go look elsewhere. I'm here and there's nothing I want to buy. That's it? Suliang nodded, but extended an invitation to Tan Kinja and Wan Qing. Sister, are you with master? No, you two have fun. Tan Kinja and Wan Qing immediately refused. Are you kidding me? Even if I want to be with my husband again, I can't agree to it now. Not to mention that I have other things to buy. Now the two of them are in a state of guilty conscience. If they stay with Suliang all the time, the matter may be leaked at any time. However, the two of them didn't expect it. The refusal of the two of them at this moment obviously made Suliang more suspicious. After all, normally, both Tan Kinja and Wan Qing are the ones competing for Suliang's forefront. Met on the road. It's impossible to let go. The rejection at this moment was really too abrupt. But the good thing is, Suliang believed deeply in his sister and master, so he didn't think much, just nodded, and left with Yang Kaoj. See this? Tan Kinja and Wan Qing breathed a sigh of relief. Finally left, almost exposed, it was really too dangerous. In the room, Qin Benjao buried her head at the table, holding various fabrics in her hands, cutting and sewing them quickly. Obviously, now that the design drawings have been prepared, production begins according to the design drawings. Nature. This is not the result of Qin Benjao's efforts alone. As the head of the Tiandao sect, which is now the largest stocking and clothing supplier, Tan Kinja is also well versed in this and has shared some of Qin Benjao's work. However, outside of work, Qin Benjao would frequently raise her head and look out the window. There is no way, although someone has been found to hold back the husband, but who knows whether the husband will suddenly come out. This is called being prepared. Volume 1 Chapter 480, Just Helping, Why Are You Fighting Among Yourself? Finally, Qin Benjao's preparedness finally came in handy. Squeak. The door was pushed open, Suliang poked his head in and asked curiously, Benjao, what are you doing? Nothing done. Qin Benjao immediately panicked. It's really impossible for people to lie to their husband. But luckily, she had seen Suliang in advance and hid everything. Otherwise, wouldn't he be caught red-handed now? Although it wouldn't be a big deal if he was discovered, Suliang would only be surprised. But wouldn't the surprise and thoughtfulness that the sisters had prepared together be wasted? The most important is, I will definitely be punished by Master and Sister Wonking, right? It's a cruel picture to think about. Since there's nothing wrong, why don't we go out and relax? Suliang invited. In fact, he had always been accompanied by 11 Hang and Ji Hongchen. However, these two people together were even more noisy than Mu Qingqian and Tao Yaoyao. After all, there is a holy lord of the righteous path and an emperor of the demonic path. Although they seem to be almost a family, the estrangement that has been estranged for countless years is difficult to eliminate. Unable to bear it anymore, Suliang could only leave quietly. Hey, I remember, weren't Sister He Ying and Sister Hong Chen accompanying Sulang? Qin Benjao asked curiously. How did you know? Suliang glanced at Qin Benjao suspiciously. Both of them came to see him privately, and no one should know. I met you halfway, Sulang, don't worry about these details. Qin Benjao hurriedly explained, but this explanation was really unconvincing. But the good thing is, Suliang had absolute trust in Qin Benjao and knew that his girlfriend would never lie to him or hide anything from him. He didn't ask any more questions and just explained, the two of them have been feuding for who knows how many years. Before I left, they were still arguing at my place. Now, the fight should start, right? By the way, if these two people fight, they won't tear my place apart, right? And as the Demon King, is it really okay for Ji Hongchen to take action in the Holy Land of Righteousness? And heard this, Qin Benjao was speechless. You were obviously asked to restrain Sulang's attention, but why did you almost start a fight? Soon, it was Suliang's birthday. Early in the morning, before dawn, all the girls were already gathered together. In order to hide it from Sulang, we have never been able to arrange it, and we don't know if we will be late today. Qin Benjao felt a little headache looking at the materials put together in front of her. Even though their cultivation levels are now frighteningly high, they can move much faster than ordinary people. But there are so many things and it's so complicated. It's a headache to arrange them all. However, in this regard, Tan Kinja was very confident, don't worry, there is still an hour before dawn. And when we have breakfast on weekdays and are free, it takes more than 2 hours. This time is enough for us to arrange it. But it's impossible for Lang Jun to sleep until then, right? Yang Kaoch had some concerns. I have a little trick that helps people sleep better. Tan Kinja coughed awkwardly and explained, don't worry, it won't have any bad effects, I just sleep better. It's very suitable for Aoyang now. How could Master know this method? There is no record of this method in our Tiandao section. Qin Benjao was a little confused. As the Master's disciple, the Master didn't teach her such a useful technique? Ahem, I figured this out myself. Tan Kinja was even more embarrassed, after all, when I first got together with Aoyang, you didn't know it? So